Google's taking us live on the Modern Fowler Scrum on a Wednesday. It's Sam and Matt. Here we are. What's been going on? Goodness me. I had an exciting Tuesday yesterday where I did Private Project Tuesday, where I basically worked almost exclusively, well, largely, on this private project related to Electron apps and translation and stuff. And we made some progress. I also was doing it pairing with my friend Fowler, which is wonderful. And that's, I really prefer to work in a pair. Not like 100% of the time, but it's just like, oh yes, that really gets my motivation up. Yeah, so that was, we made some good progress installing his thing on Windows yesterday. Then I nipped off. We had the Digital Charities meetup where we talked more in detail about GDPR, which is this big EU configuration-y thing that the data privacy. And we had like a lawyer and another person who wasn't a lawyer but who was a specialist telling us that nothing's really changed, but actually it's all like there's this thing called the PECR, which is the Privacy and Electronic Communications Regulation, which actually was already in force anyway. And basically, if you were breaking the law before, you're still breaking it now. And anyway, so that was kind of even more confusing. I'm still not sure what's going on really there. I probably need to talk to our lawyers. But anyway, that was quite a nice event. Lots of catch up with some different charity people. I have then spent the morning on a little bit on the private project, getting Mocha tags working. That's now working, so that's pleasing. And then I spent the last hour on admin, mainly readjusting the Google Calendar to allow for individual, like separate scrums, and then inviting the people who have volunteered to run the scrums to those things. So that's kind of under control. Oh, we have two like crazy explosions this morning. One is our Google AdWords account seems to have been suspended for. They say it's suspended for breaking the terms of service and conditions. We didn't change anything. Like what? Like you gave us this free account for the non-profits thing, and now you're taking it away. So we've appealed, and we'll see what happens there. Also, the map for local support has suddenly gone offline. I think like Google's deleted our API key or something. Anyway, so that's kind of a blocker. There's no other updates on the other blockers, so I won't mention them again. And plans. We've got the marketing meeting coming up where we'll probably talk about that AdWords suspension and stuff. Or the Website One meeting coming up after that, and then Capex from, and then the NHS meeting where we'll find out all about how the Docker file works with HTTPS. That's my update. Gosh, recorded for posterity for the posterity for the Google AIs to kind of pick through and say, why is that guy so strange? But Matt, what's going on with you?
Yesterday was a really busy day. The Scrum, I was in the Kentex Scrum was a little bit late, about 10 minutes late, I think, because it was I was programming and then it just completely forgot about it.
You were in the zone, man. You were in the zone.
I mean, I think I participate in less of the midday ones as well, because sometimes, like first thing in the morning, I participate, and then sometimes I get distracted. But anyways, that was good. Faith joined me this time, so it was actually I wasn't by myself. And then I ended up working. I really like this. What's going on with the this Phoenix One or the Championer One thing? Because it's the first project that I'm actually using Waffle, and I like Federico is, I think, doing a really good job of putting jobs up there that are not taking too big of a bite. Oh
yeah,
they're small little things, and then I can kind of get them off clear them kind of quickly. Although I learned that doing that you need to be careful, because going from like in the command line to creating new branches is you want to be doing that from their master branch or your developed branch, not from just another random branch. So he sent me a map that showed that I was like, I went from this branch to a different branch to a different branch. And so, that's something I learned.
Cool.
And then we kind of ran into a blocker and deploying to Heroku, but we ended up getting it figured out. Actually, I went into a meeting last night. It was like 10 o'clock local time. I went into a meeting for Ruby Floripa, and we still hadn't actually got it figured out. It was still failing the deploy to staging. But then he ended up
Phoenix One deploy to staging.
Yeah, the Championer One.
Yeah, right.
So now we have We have actually the Championer One website on its own Heroku production site. So
Cool.
that's cool. It's not, I mean, there's not lots on the site, but you know, there's a couple pages and a nav bar and stuff. So that's cool. And yeah, I'm gonna work on that a little bit today as well. I also started yesterday back with that project where I don't know, I think I was talking to Faith about this. I paired with Faith yesterday on some Ruby stuff on just Code Academy Ruby, going through that because it's part of the week 0 for the MOOC, and we're going through the MOOC on the weekend. And I was saying there's a lot of times that we have used some methods and some things, and so we are familiar with them. But then when it comes time to actually using it to solve a problem, for some reason, you know, we don't always think about it.
Right.
So yeah, I kind of have a block. I don't know. I don't want to call it a blocker because I know I'm going to figure it out, but I guess it is kind of a little blocker where I'm trying to make it to where you have like a page for which is the sales page, and then you have products like there are buttons right now, and for all the products that you have registered. And then you just click on the button and it adds that product to the sale and change the price or change the amount of the sale, but then stays on the page. And then when you create the sale, it like, you know, creates the sale. And I don't know, I'm thinking, I guess from what I'm thinking that maybe the best way to do that is to do something with jQuery. It seems like, without, if you want to change information on the page without re-rendering.
That's one way to do it.
But yeah, I guess like, because I have like the link to, I was using some link to, and then like the name of it, because you can use string interpolation to put the name of the product. And hey, Brent.
Hi.
And then, but then like, with link to, you need to send to a specific path, you know, which so then it kind of leaves the page, which, so I don't know if, I don't know. Kind of.
Yes. So there's that's interesting. There's various things I could say there, but any plans? Well, I guess, is that, have you got to the end of your report of the things?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yep.
Yeah. Well, we might to come back to that briefly there. But Brent also joins us. Hey, Brent, how are things going?
Hello. Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. Not too bad.
Did you anything you wanted to share with us?
What can I share? I've got a pairing session this afternoon with Palo, where hopefully we're going to be working on some more async voter tickets. As soon as I've finished on here, I'm hoping I've got enough time to do the local support outbound links work and then create a pull request for that.
Wonderful.
Was there anything else I was going to ask? Oh yeah, a while back you posted in Peranauts about a logo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to work on one for you if that's what you're after. Have you got any ideas? Is there any like existing styling and colours and things that you've already got in place on the project?
Not a lot. The only we have, like, at the moment the site is just the default style from the oh gosh, what is it, the Phoenix thing. Yeah. So it's like totally not there's, but yeah, that white and gray and possibly even that orange, I mean, that would not be bad selections. We're not big designy people, but the only ideas I had were having like pairs in astronaut helmets and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'll probably have a play around over the weekend then.
Wonderful.
Cool. But yeah, that's about it for me. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, that's our Scrum then. Scrum done. After Scrum. Yeah, I guess that just sort of riffing off what Matt was saying there, or you're talking about so this is the sales system that you're writing for the kind of like recipe local project, right?
It's like it's for people who work at farmers markets, you know. For them.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing, like, I think several things. Like, one is you're kind of rebuilding from scratch the shopping cart functionality that is available in lots of places. It's kind of like a solved problem in some ways. So like there would be in the same way, like people don't usually re-implement login and stuff in Rails because you've got devise, right? So you could be using a off-the-shelf Rails shopping cart, but I presume that you're not doing that because you want to learn about how to put together from scratch.
Well, no, I didn't. I haven't found a gem that does that, but I actually found a tutorial that implements the shopping cart, and I actually did that tutorial. Okay. But I guess there's some little problems with that I'm working through, because when I click on the button on that, it doesn't actually. I think there's jQuery parts now. I don't know. But then I found another tutorial yesterday that is dealing with Rails and jQuery, and is very similar to what I want to do. So I'm gonna maybe go through that and see. I feel like I'm getting closer. Yeah.
Like, sure. Absolutely. Go on.
I think I have I put some methods in having done that shopping cart tutorial. I put some methods in my model that, like, when that grab the price and the quantity and and then come up with the amount that way. But yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think there are. I mean, I suspect that a lot of the shopping cart gems and so on are kind of in some ways going. But here is a one that you might be interested in looking at. In terms of what you're talking about there, I mean, if you've got the key thing of like link to you click it and it will refresh the page, but you can set up the link to use and do an Ajax request instead of doing a page refresh. I mean, you've then got all these different layers. Like, so jQuery absolutely is one system that you can use to adjust the page on the fly, but then that's what also the front end frameworks like React, and you could have React sprinkles in there doing that. You could, give over the whole front end to Angular. Will also all do that kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and ultimately, I guess my one of my goals was to do in React Native so that it would be better to use on cell phones. But I don't know. Like, I kind of put it. I worked a little bit on it yesterday, but I kind of put it to the side a little bit because I'm trying to contribute to some AV stuff. But at some point, I want to try to get that implemented, because I have something to production that she's using, but it's something that like requires her to do more typing and instead of doing clicking on buttons, and then it kind of
absolutely. Yes, indeed. I mean, it's a tricky one. I mean, I've done that in various places myself, which is, I mean, it's kind of, it's this difficult challenge, like, because you build something, but then in order to, like, you are taking on a kind of a maintenance debt that you have to maintain it, and any changes sort of require you to get involved in it, if you know what I mean, to the extent that one can use existing solutions that are hopefully have active projects, then just upgrading the gems and you get all the benefits from the changes in those other areas. But
before, and I'm sure you have to run, but I had a question for you. It seemed quite a lot more difficult to push to Heroku deployment with Elixir and Phoenix than I've experienced with Rails. I don't know if that is...
I don't know that. I mean, recently I deploy almost exclusively to Azure via Doku. And we did the Elixir Phoenix deploy was not particularly difficult, but I think that Heroku will probably just, it's got, you almost don't even need to specify the build pack. Like, it will just deploy to like a Rails or a Ruby app automatically. But I think Elixir and Phoenix, you got to specify a build pack. I think once the right build pack is specified, it's all good. But I don't have much experience.
Yeah, we had to specify the build pack, but then the build pack, you have to have like if you're not going with like the out of the box configurations, then you need to actually add like a Elixir config file or build pack config, and then you need to add a Phoenix build pack config, and so there's some extra stuff there. Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing to think about, but I'll just leave it all Faith there as well. I'm just going to say is that I think for the funny thing is like building in Rails or indeed in Elixir Phoenix, like building something from scratch, that's like pure developer stuff. Actually, a lot of the time,
you know, if you want to make like an e-commerce site for somebody, I think that's, you know, what the whole WordPress ecosystem, basically you can kind of almost with doing no programming at all and just getting the right plugins and premium plugins, that's sort of, this is very much the sense that I'm getting as I, you know, work with lots and lots of different charities, is pretty much no one wants a custom solution that's built by one developer. They'd rather have a WordPress thing with the idea that they can then cheaply get other WordPress people to fix it up later on. Does that make any sense at all?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's my experience as well.
So it's yeah, go on.
WordPress or Drupal seem to be the two big ones.
Yes, indeed. Which is an interesting thing, because I think, you know, to a certain extent, for all of us, we would like to be working on programming, you know, the raw code the time, and that's sort of more fun. There's a sort of conflict there between, you know, sort of almost what many clients want and what we, you know, the tools that we want to use in order to deliver them, if you know what I mean. But I'll leave that there as a physical point, and greet Faith. Faith, how good to see you. Are you able to talk now? Can you tell us what's going on? Or...
Yeah, I'm good. We had a pairing session with March yesterday, and today I am working on a task sequence, just a change of line. And on the FM project, it's a simple thing. And looking forward to a weekly meeting as well. That's all from me.
Great. Thanks, Faith. Good to see you. All right. Well, I think I better nip off. Of course, feel free to hang out and chat. There was a viewer as well. Viewer, greetings, viewer. It was probably Federico, maybe. But if not, come and join us sometime, or just say hello on Slack. We always love to have more folks in Agile Ventures. Yeah, I better pop off. Great to see all of you. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you later.